What's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew Montana. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 11 of HTF Bets. We've got a really fun episode for you today with two Bets veterans, and I'm really excited to get into it, but not as excited I am to see the next episode of the Draymond Green Show. How long will it be until Draymond and Adam Silver are on good terms? Don't hold your breath. Rudy didn't. And we're going to be starting off looking at some NFL bets from the start of the semester. Next up, we're going to take a look at various bets across the sporting world. We'll pick one, and then it's going to be a yelling match realistically. And then we're going to end off the show with our surefire picks of the week, where somebody actually won last week, so we'll take a look into that. But before we get into the show, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere because HTF Bet starts right now. Welcome back. Thank you guys for sticking with us. With me as always, Phil and Ezra. Ezra, I'll start off with yourself. How are you doing today?
Made money. Tried to tell y'all.
Oh my gosh, what a spoiler. And then Phil, over to you. Your second to last episode. I have to say it.
I'm crying.
That's sad.
Let that sink in.
That's actually sad.
I know, but hey, you know what? Let's make these last two shows the best, man.
Exactly. And to help us make them as best as we possibly can, we got one of the best football heads in HTF. Ty Patton, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic right now. I didn't have any coffee this morning, so I'm running off hopes and dreams. But I'm excited to prove to y'all why y'all bets were wrong and mine is absolutely correct. So, listen,
Okay.
You better be running on hopes and dreams because gee willikers. Now, earlier this season, we did look at some NFL futures bets, and we just are going to be taking down one of two avenues. We're either going to be doubling down on the picks we made at the start of the semester, considering the odds from the beginning of the semester, or we're going to abandon ship and choose a new bet. Now, Ezra, I'm going to start it off with yourself. You initially chose Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars with plus 1,500 odds of winning the MVP. Are you going to double down, or are you abandoning ship?
I'm 1,000% abandoning ship here. That man has thrown for 9 touchdowns this season. Tyreek Hill has 8 on his own. Get me off of that train immediately. But my MVP pick is actually going to be a little bit more bold. I'm going C.J. Stroud.
That's not bold.
The Ohio State quarterback, my guy. I think that he has a very solid chance of winning MVP. This is a very lower tier quarterback year for MVP-wise. Like, Patrick Mahomes obviously had a couple off games, but he's still like a front runner. And Jalen Hurts, he just hasn't looked the same this year. Lamar Jackson is currently the front runner, I believe, but he's just
Tyreek Hill.
He's very inconsistent. He's very inconsistent. He throws a lot of picks. He turns over the ball a lot. The offense is not really the best. So I think that of course, this is a perfect world. If C.J. Stroud and his Texans team win most of their last 8 games, because they have the Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Jets, the Titans twice, the Browns once, and the Colts. I don't think that's that difficult. I don't think that that's that difficult of a schedule. Their only difficult games would be the Jets because of their defense, the Jaguars because they're pretty decent,
because MVP Trevor Lawrence,
and the Browns because their defense. But that Browns team doesn't have any offense now that Deshaun Watson's out for the season. So I would like to believe it. He's currently projected to have 4,900 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on the season. Those are absolutely MVP numbers, in my opinion.
Now, what do you want to say about that before I toss it over to Ty?
I mean, it's not. I can see it happening, honestly. If he continues doing what he's doing, he is playing great football right now. And, he actually has some pretty good receivers with Tank Dell, Noah Brown. I know the Cowboys fan like where Noah Brown come from.
Dalton Schultz.
And then Dalton Schultz, with Nico Collins. Yeah, honestly. But I think this will also could hurt him if he keep throwing the ball because they don't have a running game.
I mean, Devin Singletary has been great out of the backfield for the passing game, too.
Yeah, but the Bills really didn't rely on him. That's why they got rid of him. So, I mean, it's doable, but I'm kind of mad you didn't mention Tua, but that's just my bias in there.
Ty definitely
wants to say something.
Yeah.
Now, Ty, I'll toss it over to your pick, but just so you guys know, C.J. Stroud's odds of winning MVP currently sit at plus 2,500, which is 1,000 more than your previous selection of Trevor Lawrence. We'll see how that pans out. But Ty, we're going to be looking at one of the worst, if not the worst, records in the NFL right now, down in Phoenix. Are you going to be doubling down your pick on the Arizona Cardinals, winning less than 4 games, or are you going to abandon ship?
I am absolutely doubling down. But before I say that, I just got to make it known, the last time a rookie won MVP was in 1957.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening. I love C.J. Stroud, but
It's
I
a
don't think
bold
it's happening.
take. It's a bold take.
I was sitting here biting my tongue for a few minutes, letting y'all talk. I had to get it out of there, you know.
That's fair.
But I have the Arizona Cardinals going under 3.5 wins. For the remainder of the season, they're playing some absolutely difficult opponents. They're going in and playing Pittsburgh at 6-3, San Fran, Philly, and Seattle, all of which are over 500. Even with Kyler back, I don't see a world in which they can come out and pull out any of these wins. The only 2 games that I think they have any shot at winning are against the Rams and the Bears. So the Rams have been lackluster at best throughout the year, but they still have a good offense. The defense, arguable. Aaron Donald, I know he's a force, but besides him, that offense is a little bit, for lack of better terms, mid. The Bears, on the other hand, just got back Justin Fields. He looks okay in practice, but we're going to see how he plays game 1 coming back. If they play as stinky as they played offensively like they have with Bajent, I don't think they have any shot against the Cardinals, but one of those 2 teams, the Rams and Bears, I foresee taking a W against the Cardinals. I think they're going to wind up at a record of 3-14, and I think you can go ahead and hammer home that the final record is going to be 3-11 or 3-14. They're going under 3.5 wins.
What is their current record right now at the moment?
got
They have
2
2
wins.
wins currently. I believe
I
they're-
think they could win both of those games that you
think so,
discussed.
too.
I think they can, but here's the thing. Kyler Murray's coming back, and they already are past halfway up your parlay, about halfway through the season. Do you think Kyler Murray's return is going to have any impact on that? Because your bet currently sits at plus 120. I don't know if they might be able to sneak one out.
So we just saw about a week ago, the Falcons ended up losing, I believe, 27-0 against the Browns. They have no defense and they have little offense, the Falcons, right? Cardinals with Kyler Murray and James Conner back play the Falcons. They barely squeak out a win, 25-22. My whole point in this is even with Kyler back, even with James Conner back, even with the team that they've tried to put together, which has failed miserably, they're not firing on any cylinder. You know, they're horrible right now. I think those 2 teams, the Rams and the Bears, are the only teams that you could argue are on the same level or worse. And fortunately for them, they do have one more game that could help them. They play Seattle in Week 18. If Seattle manages to clinch the NFC West, I could see them pulling their starters, and maybe that's a win, but I doubt it.
All right, and speaking of another team who is missing their primary quarterback, at least Arizona got theirs back. My pick at the beginning of the semester was that Garrett Wilson was going to win Offensive Player of the Year with plus 3,000 odds. I believe that's the highest of anybody that chose that first round. I'm abandoning ship real quick because Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Garrett Wilson isn't playing a bad season, but he's got
Wilson.
600 yards, 2 touchdowns, I believe like 11.5 yards per attempt. But my new pick is going to be, it's a safe one. We're just going to run with it because I haven't had many wins this year on bets. Tyreek Hill winning Offensive Player of the Year at plus 125. He is the favorite, so I'm just going to run with that. I believe he's got 8 touchdowns, over 1,000 receiving yards, and 15.6 yards per attempt. He's arguably, not even arguably at this point, really, just alongside Christian McCaffrey, the most, if not the second most valuable player in fantasy, and arguably even the best player in the league, just in football all around. Phil, I'll toss it over to you, another Dolphins fan. What do you think about this pick? Because I know you're going to love it, but...
No, I definitely do love it. Honestly, I mean, when you think about receiver aspect of it, you have Tyreek Hill, to me, is in front, a little biased, but I think honestly it's true. And you also have A.J. Brown as well, who could also possibly win Player of the Year.
He's got a tougher schedule.
He do have a tougher schedule. If you look at the Dolphins' next 5 games, we have the Raiders, we have the Commanders, I believe we have the Jets, then we have the Titans, and then we have the Jets again before we play the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills. So these next 5 games, Tyreek Hill, I could say possibly put up over 600 yards receiving.
I think I was going to say like 7, 8.
7, oh God.
7, 8. Because
That
that defense can get
yards
torn up.
receiving.
He's already got 1,000.
I mean,
it has been a decent.
I
I know, but we
Games.
have to play the Jets twice. And
That's
the Jets have
that's
a great
a good
defense.
point. That's a good point.
So yeah, that's what I'm
Mr.
saying about
Andrew,
it. I'd say 5 or 6.
So Phil, I'll toss it over to you now because you initially chose the Miami Dolphins to win the Super Bowl with plus 2,500 odds. Are you going to be abandoning ship?
Oh no, most definitely. I'm going low, like to the crust, the core of the earth. Yes, I'm doubling down. I'm sorry. So right now the Dolphins they're winning Super Bowl odds is at plus 2,500, right? So let's say this. I'm going to go to the NFC. I'm not worrying about the AFC. So I think the teams that could come out in the NFC to me and the Dolphins could face in the Super Bowl is the 49ers, the Eagles, and I'm going to throw them in there, the Cowboys, right? So I feel like the 49ers, Yes, I'm sorry. The 49ers right now, I haven't seen them come back and win a game. Can this team win a game if they're losing? I don't think so. All right, let's go with the Eagles. They secondary is kind of suspect. They do have a good front seven, but I'm sorry, they actually have to play the Chiefs, so I'm glad to see what Patrick Mahomes do against that secondary. And the Cowboys, what kind of Dak Prescott we gonna get? Are we gonna get a bad Dak, or are we gonna get a good Dak? If Dak plays good, they have a good shot.
Ty, I'm gonna
come on now.
Ty, I'm gonna toss it over to
Okay.
you. I'm gonna toss it over to you. But real quick, the Dolphins actually are currently sitting at plus 950, which is much better
950.
odds than where they were at the beginning. Who do you think is gonna take it all? And I'll just let you know what the line is right now.
The line for Super Bowl, who's going to take the whole Super Bowl right now?
Yeah, just go for it.
You better not say
Don't
the
say the
Bucks.
Bucks.
Don't say the Bucks.
Who's your champ?
The Bucks.
Oh,
no,
okay.
it's not the
They're
Bucks,
not even
the Bucks,
up
not the Bucks.
here. I need to
AFC,
scroll.
AFC, as of right now, sitting right now, I hate to say it, I think it might be the Chiefs.
Yeah, it has to be. Has to be.
I think it might be the
Plus
Chiefs.
480 odds of winning the whole thing, and your Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 11,000 odds of winning the Super Bowl.
Should be plus 110.
I
Should
can't
be right
count
there.
that
Should be
high.
minus 150. What are we talking about here?
Okay.
No, Ty,
Okay.
we need to chill out.
Baker
Stay on Earth.
Mayfield.
Stay on
But
Earth.
with that being said, thank you so much, Ty Patton, for joining us today on this segment. We're going to toss it over to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Dominic Mullen. Welcome to Hitting the Field Network. Our first show that you're going to see on YouTube is Hitting the Field Main Show, hosted by yours truly on Mondays at noon, where you'll see me with a fresh fade and fresh news. I'll also be talking a little bit of the hottest topics in sports, and we are going to be arguing mainly on there. On Tuesdays at noon, you'll see Isaiah De Anda Delgado and Ty Patton on the Combine, just more of a podcast, laid-back style of a show. And if you're looking for the most creative segment ideas, head on over there on Tuesday. On our off day, don't forget to check out the studio vlogs on Wednesdays. Andrew Montano does a great job of giving a little bit of the behind-the-scenes look into Hitting the Field. Sorry, Tyler. Our newest show here at Hitting the Field on Saturdays is Girl Talk, hosted by Kirsten Blaylock and Lexi Zolo. The all-female hosted show tackles breaking news all across the sports world, and as well, reliving the history and current state of your favorite team. Check that show out Saturdays at noon. Again, I am your main show host, Dominic Moeller, and if you're enjoying this content, don't be afraid to subscribe to our Hitting the Field YouTube and check out our Instagram. But for now, that's all. I'll see you on main show. Take care.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. Before we get into the show, I'm going to quickly introduce our guest, Mr. Jared Fox over at the TV. How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Can't wait for this segment.
Of course, great to have you on. Now, we were given a list of bets, and I'm actually just not going to read it off just to save some time. We all chose one of them. We're just going to talk about it and probably just get ready for each other to be yelled at, really. Phil, I'm going to kick it off with yourself, looking at some college football. We're going to be talking Alabama. What do you got?
All right. So right now, I have Alabama at plus 1,000 to win the SEC and also to make the college football playoffs. Now, honestly, I don't think this is a hot take. I see them doing it. So let's see. The remaining schedule, they got Chattanooga, they got Auburn, and they have Georgia, right? So honestly, if they need to beat Georgia. This is going to be a big game. If Alabama beat Georgia, they're going to see Georgia again in the SEC championship. They got to beat them twice in order to make this playoff, which I think is doable. I think it's
not
doable.
beating Georgia.
Jalen Monroe, he did a 180 from the start of the season. I mean, right now, he has thrown 2,070 yards with 16 touchdowns, and he also run the ball 105 carries for 333 yards with 12 touchdowns. So he turned around the Alabama team looking very good. This is probably the most logical bet.
Logical?
Logical.
That's
Yeah, no,
true.
honestly.
I see Jared shaking his head over there, and then I'll toss it to you real quick, Ezra. But Jared, what are your thoughts on this pick?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's actually the least likely to hit out of all of the ones that we picked.
Are you serious?
Because they're not beating Georgia. Like
You're making him cry on your
straight
second
up.
last episode.
They're
I'm
not
sorry,
beating Georgia
Phil. I'm
once.
sorry.
They're
but
beating
it's just not
Georgia.
gonna
Let
happen.
alone twice.
It's not gonna happen.
Have you seen Georgia play? Honestly.
Have I seen Georgia play?
Yeah, have you
yes.
seen them
Have you
play?
seen Alabama play?
Yes, I admit they have struggled, but they have turned it on. Like, I'm sorry, I see Georgia struggle against bad teams. I mean, Alabama only had one struggle against USF, but they was trying quarterbacks
Against
out.
who?
Oh, because USF is a great
Against who?
team.
I'm just saying. But honestly, I really think the odds are getting Alabama favor. And when they actually make the college football playoffs and win SEC, I need my flowers. That's all I got to say.
I'll give you your flowers if that happens. for
Okay,
sure.
okay then, Phil. Now I'm going to toss it over into my bet, which is going to be The 2022 NBA champion Golden State Warriors will be missing this year's NBA playoffs. Not the play-in, the playoffs, which currently sits at plus 500 odds. Now, Steph Curry didn't play last night, as we might have seen in the battle for San Francisco. And yeah, when Steph Curry's not there to walk the dog, Draymond Green goes crazy. And he's the only thing holding this team together. He's averaging 30 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4 assists, 1 steal, which his scoring has been phenomenal, of course, but everything else has been a little bit lackluster in terms of what we're used to seeing from Steph. The second option is Andrew Wiggins, which isn't bad. He's averaging, actually, never mind, he is bad. He's 10 points. Klay Thompson's averaging about 17. The only other positive I've really seen is Chris Paul in terms of his playmaking and his stealing, which is something he's always going to bring to the table. He has been having a little bit of struggles in terms of scoring, which obviously you will have if you're on the Golden State Warriors, but also playmaking in terms of turnover efficiency. He's been a little bit more careless in terms of what we're used to seeing from Chris Paul. But yeah, I think just there's so many great teams in the West, particularly this year. I think the Warriors can sneak into the play-in. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. I think they might make 7th, 8th seed at best. But you're not going to beat a team like the Lakers, who realistically we're not going to get many wins in the playoffs. But we might make a splash in the regular season. But we might make a splash in the postseason. Ezra, I see you kind of.
I'm just making sure I'm understanding this completely. So you don't think they'll make the
They won't make the top 8 after the
or the top 6, but you think they'll make 7 through 10 for the play-in?
I think when it comes to the post play-in, once we figure out the 7th and 8th seed, they will not be in that.
Well, the 7th and 8th are in the play-in anyway.
No, but I mean, after the play-in is figured out, and if 9 or 10 seeds.
So you think they'll be 9 or 10?
I think they can be in the play-in. I think they can be in the play-in, but I don't think they're going to make the final 8 when it comes to the actual play-in.
Honestly, that's a fantastic bet then.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic bet. That's not even that much of a hot take, honestly. That
really
is a fantastic.
It was on the list. I didn't make the list.
I would take that. I would take that.
But it's a hot take just because Steph Curry's there, right?
They just don't have depth. They don't have size. They don't have a lot. They don't really.
When Andrew Wiggins is your power forward, and by power forward I mean guarding Giannis, guarding Jaren Jackson.
He did well last season doing it, but
I mean, yeah, but to what extent are you going to make him play defense on somebody like?
He was all-star starter last year.
I mean, yeah, because there were no other forwards available.
Who is guarding Wemby on Golden State?
Correct.
Who is guarding Wemby on Golden State? Draymond Green?
Correct.
He's going to just go for his legs? What's going on here? Kevon Looney.
6'8".
Oh my God.
Now, Jared, I'll keep it over on your end of the screen. You're going to be taking over 3.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the NFL draft, sitting at plus 1,700 odds. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And this one is actually the most unlikely to happen according to the odds, like you said, at plus 1,700. But we have so many teams in the NFL that desperately need a quarterback. I think that we're going to see 2 go in the top 3. And as you can see, Caleb Williams, obvious number 1 pick. No matter if the Bears pick there, the Patriots pick there, or the Giants pick there. Yes, obvious.
He's been struggling, but
And then, it doesn't matter. Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 pick. And then you can see Drake May going to the Patriots or to the Giants at 2 and 3, depending on where they fall. Obviously, this is just where they are right now. And then I think we could even still see guys like Michael Penix Jr. or even J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix, depending on how the rest of their season pans out and how they do at the Combine. There's so many teams in the NFL. I mean, even you could say teams like the Falcons, the Jets, who need to get a quarterback after Aaron Rodgers. You could say teams like the Raiders, who they benched Jimmy Garoppolo, so I don't think Aiden O'Connell is their long-term answer. So there's teams down the board that can take guys that are like J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix, like I said. Shador Sanders, if he does declare for this draft, I think he's going to be a first round pick.
Oh, whoa.
We almost
got banished from the show.
I don't think he's going to the draft.
I don't think he is either. Not this year. But I'm easily smashing the over on 3.5. Okay. Like, I don't care about the odds. Even if they were at minus 150, I'm smashing the over.
I do also love these odds. Again, for a hot take, this is a very doable bet, in my opinion.
And you would make a lot of money if you get it. So good on you.
Jared spat straight facts, saying there's plenty of good teams that don't have great quarterbacks right now or need backups. Absolutely,
I do want to ask you this though, Jared. You did mention that Caleb Williams, despite his recent struggles, will still be solidified first overall pick. What about everybody else? Marvin Harrison Jr. has been tearing it up in Ohio State. What do you think are the chances of him taking number 1?
Literally, the only way that Caleb Williams doesn't go number 1 overall is if the Bears decide to keep Justin Fields and not trade the pick. Then, okay, they can go Marvin Harrison Jr., they can go O-line, they can go defense, but I think 100% Caleb Williams is the best prospect in this draft class. He has the biggest ceiling, or the highest ceiling, and the most upside. So I think it's Caleb Williams and then the field. So
I mean, if it comes to Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields, that's going to be an interesting selection to make on the Bears' part. But Ezra, I'm going to pitch it over to you. We've got Shohei Ohtani doing a reverse rondo.
Say it right now.
Going to that one team,
What team? Say it out loud or I'll say it.
Las Medias Rojas. I'm not going to say it in English.
Shohei
Your
Ohtani
team.
will become a Boston Red Sox player this offseason. Mark my words. Odds are sitting at plus 1,300. Ron, I see you in the back. I love you. You are just as much of a Red Sox fan. I'm hoping you're just as excited. We can absolutely get Shohei Ohtani. We have plenty of money saved up. We didn't pay Xander Bogaerts, so we have all that money. We did pay Rafi, so we do have some sort of star power. But we also need an ace. Chris Sale, unfortunately, just isn't that ace player for us anymore. I probably shouldn't say us, but it's okay. We've been decent, even with lack of quality this season. Like we had players like Justin Turner and Kike Hernandez, who mostly are like rotational players. They were getting everyday games for us, and they performed very well. So I think it's a very coachable team. He brings in another lefty bat, which we have plenty of, but we're in a very righty-heavy division versus guys like Garrett Cole, Kevin Gossman, Tyler Glasnow, Grayson Rodriguez, just many guys that are righty throwers. We could tear up our division fully. And we also will need a DH this season. Justin Turner is going into free agency. He's absolutely leaving. There's going to be teams that pay him money. He'll probably go to somewhere like the Diamondbacks, I would assume. So we definitely will need a DH spot. So I'm not sure that he's going to go anywhere else, really. Like, he could go to the Rangers. He could go to the Cubs.
Oh,
but,
my gosh.
Realistically, where the money's at, he is a Red Sox player. And I'm not saying this just because of my bias. He has now said that the Red Sox are one of his 3 teams that he is thinking about.
What are the other teams? What are the other 2 teams?
The Rangers is one of them, and I think the Cubs was the other one.
Okay, because I'm looking at the odds right now. The Red Sox are 7th in landing Shohei next year. Obviously,
Right.
plus 1,300. But you also got the Rangers. You got the Yankees. If you're talking about money, you got the Yankees.
I don't
You got
think he
the
goes to the
Mets,
Yankees,
also
though.
big market. You got the Mariners. You got the Giants. And you got the Dodgers.
There's a lot
You've
of
got
teams
the Dodgers.
there
You're the
that don't
only
make
team.
sense for
You're the
Shohei.
only team with minus odds on this, minus 110 to land Shohei Ohtani.
that's crazy.
There's very many teams that you've just stated that have no reason to get Shohei Ohtani. The Giants currently aren't not a winning team, and they have too many old players. They need to reform and regroup. The Dodgers need to go fix other pieces. They have a good starting rotation
That's
already.
fair.
They have good hitting. They need to go fix up their outfield.
Also struggling on pitching, though.
The Mets, there's no chance the Mets sign Shohei Ohtani. They haven't been good. They need to completely also redo their team. But you know what? I stand on what I say. He will be a Red Sox player this season.
We'll see how that pans out. Hopefully, nothing good ever happens again in Boston. But thank you so much, Jared, for Thank you so much, Jared, for joining us on this segment. We're going to toss it to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Ty Patton, and I am a licensed sports therapist. And today I'm here to help 3 people cope with their misfortunate teams. Maddie, when was the last time the Bears won anything?
I don't think I've ever experienced that feeling.
Maddie, the MVP is not a real award.
But it was voted on.
By kids, Maddie.
Yeah, it was a real award, and I think that's one thing that we can, we made history with that moment. We don't have to talk about Trubisky or the draft because I really don't like to think about that. It really just makes me, I'm sorry.
Now, Maddie, is Mitch Trubisky still with the team?
No. I'm not sure he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know Mahomes is, and he was drafted ahead of him. Actually, Mitch Trubisky, it was a bad one. And now we have Justin Fields, who I have belief in. And the worst thing about sports, it's the hope it gives you.
Maddie, at times like this, sometimes we as fans like to hold on to what was.
Yeah,
But
my dad
sometimes
still
you-
talks
you-
about the
you-
85 Bears like it was yesterday. I texted him yesterday. I was like, how about this Bears game? And he was just like, this is so sad. I
You know,
watched
but
with my neighbor's lifelong Bears fan. I watched with them. It was just, you can't describe the feelings that were showcased in that
Thank
live.
you guys for sticking with us. Once again, we're going to be looking at our surefire picks of the week. That is where we look at any sporting event happening within this next week, and we make a 3-leg parlay out of it. And before we get into it, Phil's got some huge news. He's got his tickets booked to Puerto Rico. He's going to be a Boricua. Let's go.
Boricua, yes.
Boricua. Okay, we're going to start off with Ezra's pick. If you guys remember at the start of the show, I did mention that somebody actually won last week.
It was me.
Yeah.
It was me. I made money.
Ezra won his second game in the last, 9 total?
9.
Yeah. Last 3
I am
months.
2 for 9, but I'm somehow in first place out of us. So hey,
How's fantasy? What place you in that?
I'm just outside the playoffs actually.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just outside of fantasy because I'm second to last, I believe.
I clinched the playoff spot.
Yeah, and I'm playing you. I can't wait to lose. Now, Ezra, we're going to be looking at your pick this week. We're looking at Washington taking on Oregon State on Saturday. Talk to me.
Correct. I won with college football last week. Why not run it back? Washington this week, who is the 5th ranked, let me rephrase all this. 5th ranked Washington versus 11th ranked Oregon State. I am taking Washington's money line. They are the underdog at plus 120 right now. I understand this is a big game for Washington, but they've beaten big teams this season. Very big teams. They beat Oregon, Arizona, Utah, USC. Who's to say they can't beat this Oregon State team? This is a lot on the line here. This is most likely going to be their shot to get into the college football playoffs. They need to win this game in particular. I'm also going to be taking Michael Penix's over on 2.5 touchdowns. I know he throws a lot of 2 touchdowns games, but when it comes to actual full-on passing quarterbacks, not necessarily just dual threats, passing quarterbacks, Oregon State tend to suffer. They gave up 407 yards to Washington State's quarterback Cam Ward. 400 yards to an unranked team. I'm going to believe that Michael Penix is going to be able to stay in the pocket very well. He's going to be a little bit slower, in the sense of picking and choosing, because it's a very big game to win. So I'm also going to be taking Washington's over on 3.5 total touchdowns, because they've scored 4 touchdowns in 8 of their 9 games. 9 of their 10 games. So I'm absolutely taking that. That's at a minus 160 right now. There's no point in not doing this. I'm such a believer in this. I'm more of a believer in this than the last one for college football.
And I'm going to agree with you. I believe in this pick that you just made. This is probably my favorite parlay that you made. You explained it so beautifully. That was really well done, Ezra. Let's pitch it over to Phil, though. Once again, record of 1-8. We're tied for a second. Let's go.
Yeah, tied for a second.
Looking at an AFC rivalry with the Bengals and the Ravens. Hopefully Lamar pulls out, but
Oh, no. We're going with the Bengals, Thursday Night Football. So I have the Bengals beating the Ravens tonight. So right now I have the Bengals money line at plus 150. Hear me out. Don't lie. Hear me out. I have right now at the Ravens, their first drive, I said he punt the ball at plus 130. And then also I have Joe Burrow passing touchdowns. I have that over at at minus 115. Now, this is a must win for the Bengals. They need to win this game. I know they don't have T. Higgins, and I know that people say, oh, they don't got T. Higgins. You know, the Ravens defense, they're going to probably double Jamar Chase. But honestly, what the Bengals need to do is that they need to make Lamar Jackson uncomfortable in the pocket. They really do that. He is a turnover machine, right? So they got to realize this. They need to keep up with the Browns. They need to keep up with the Ravens, and they also need to keep up with the Steelers. Right now, they're at the bottom, so this is must win. They win this game, and the Ravens haven't had their bye week yet. I feel like they have a great shot of making the playoffs.
That's a good point, but I think I am just going to disagree with everything you just said.
I will also disagree.
Because, hey, I'm just going to throw my bias in there. I'm taking the Ravens to win it. This is also a must-win for the Ravens. Again, their bye week is coming up. They're going to be a little bit weaker in the AFC with their bye week coming up, and it's just such a compact division right now. Everybody's just hovering around 500 wins, maybe a little bit over. But real quick, I'm going to toss it into my pick where the Oklahoma City Thunder will be beating the Golden State Warriors tonight at 9-10. We've got the OKC money line at minus 135, and I'm going to be taking the Thunder covering the spread. It's at minus 2.5 with minus 105 odds of going on, and then Andrew Wiggins going over 14.5 points with minus 125 odds as well. Andrew Wiggins has now become the first option of the Golden State Warriors, at least for the tenure of Steph Curry's injury. We've got Chris Paul, who has no idea how to put the ball in the basket unless it's a little old head fadeaway mid-range shot. And I think Andrew Wiggins is just going to be running the offense, at least in terms of scoring. Playmaking, we'll dish that out to anybody else because, again, Draymond's going to be out for a while. But yeah, I think Andrew Wiggins has a good shot of at least hitting this parlay. But anyway, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Ezra. And thank you to Jared and to Ty. I got you, for joining us this week. We'll see you in 2 weeks because this next week is going to be Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I'm super excited to spend all my money. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, go Knights and charge on.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't got it.